everybody.
Hi, friends. Well, from beautiful springtime in Salt Lake City,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
where we, a couple of atheists, try to make sense of religion, politics, and current events in these fascist United States.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on the show today, the Mormons Win Again, Dan. They
Just winning.
they're
Hashtag winning all the time.
constantly with these people. No, this is we're going to be talking about that court case, the lawsuit that a bunch of actually current and ex-Mormons were suing the Mormon Church to try to get their tithing back because they felt like the church had misrepresented how they were using tithing funds by, hoarding money and turning it into a giant investment fund and buying malls and whatnot. And so we're gonna talk about what happened and kind of just our take on it, because
but yeah, we're going to launch much more into
the case got thrown out, and we're kind of
that.
We have a
Spoiler alert. It went exactly as we all knew it was going to go. But what does it mean? And like, what are these Mormons doing? That's the question. What are you ding dongs doing?
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be getting to that. But first, some news happened. Some things happened, Dan, including a mysterious cholera outbreak in Europe.
Oh.
Dan, health officials in Germany and the UK have reported a strange outbreak of cholera. In fact, it's a superbug cholera, which is just what you want when the main symptom is shitting till tomorrow,
Till the cows come home.
shitting all day today and all day tomorrow, and maybe even dying because how much you've been shitting.
When you say it like that, love in the time of cholera doesn't sound quite as enticing. I'm just going to be honest about it.
Anyway, so multi-drug resistant cholera, and there's been a number of sick people, and they had to do some digging. They had to figure out, where did these people get cholera? And it turns out that they got it from holy water.
I was gonna guess that one wasn't actually that hard. I was on that mystery from the beginning.
Oh no, Dan! How dare you? How dare you?
It was either that or like the host or something,
Yeah, these were all people. Well, not all of them actually. This is where it gets a little tricky. Some of these people had recently been to Ethiopia, where there is a superbug cholera outbreak. It's been going on for a couple years. Hundreds of people have died. Almost 60,000 people have gotten sick since August 2022. So a couple of these people went and brought back water from the Burmel Georges Holy Well.
Oh God, not a holy well. No.
Where people can go and you can sort of enjoy the health, the healing waters.
Oh yeah.
Right. Of this holy well. And whatever it is that ails you, except cholera, apparently, this will just take care of. It'll just knock it right out. But yeah, it's like chock full of cholera. So, bacteria, if you like put it in a little Ziploc or whatever it is that they were bringing it back in,
in a bottle, in a water bottle.
Yeah, in
a Stanley cup.
This stuff will die over time,
Sure.
right? As it sort of lives out its life cycle and there's no more food for it to consume. The water, I don't think you would want to consume it with all this dead bacteria floating around in it, but the bacteria would die, right?
Sure.
But the bacteria was still active. And so the officials are saying that it would have had to be an incredible an incredible concentration of cholera in this water, like just some of the worst cholera infected water around.
Can I tell you my theory?
What's that?
Here's the thing. Whenever there's like a well and people are like, this is magic water, blah, blah, blah. Somebody's going to poop in the well. I'm just going to say it. Like somebody's going to be mad at somebody. Somebody's going to poop in that well.
Yeah, it's possible. I think it is part of just the broader outbreak. Anyway, so what happened is these people came back from their little visit to this holy well. And the way that it spread, of course, is that they consumed it. They let other people consume it. Apparently, they washed somebody's face with it, sort of poured it over them in some fashion. I don't know why, but maybe they had like acne that they were trying to heal.
I mean, the why of religious things is always a bit mysterious.
It's not what you want to do. You don't want to bring back water from a region where there is a known cholera outbreak. Like this is you know this. You knew when you were there that like if you were eating food that was cultivated in the area, that it needed to be cooked, right? Or peeled, right?
Yeah,
or
you were definitely given instructions not to consume just raw water.
Right.
Don't raw dog the water. You can't.
But not just the water, like food grown in the area, right?
Yeah.
Or boil your water, but make sure the food is cooked, your water's boiled, right? Yeah. And so they clearly, obviously would have been given these instructions. They knew. They didn't. The holy water's immune.
Because Jesus fixed it.
They learned their lesson. Apparently, the bug is still. There was one antibiotic that worked. There was one remaining commercially produced antibiotic.
Oh my God!
That would kill this stuff. Otherwise, all the other antibiotics didn't work. So the people they got healed up, and so they're fine.
It's like
I hope they learned their lesson.
It's like the religious people are trying to make science not work anymore. Like with the superbug thing, it's like they're really working hard to make sure that science just doesn't ever work again.
I mean, yeah, but like
we're trying to get back to those good old days when a disease would kill you instead of just annoy you.
When the only thing that could heal you was your faith.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess.
Like enough with the modern medicine. Enough.
Just trust in Jesus.
Just faith. Give me the superbug, and and let Jesus do his thing. And if I die, I die.
If it kills me, that's God's will.
Yeah.
And I don't know why God wants me dead, but I trust him.
God wants everybody dead.
He does.
God's kind of a prick that way.
Oh my God. All right. I'm speaking of pricks, not God in this case. In this case, it's the people who run these United States currently.
Right.
But the angle is weird here, right? We know I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds about how the Trump administration is deporting just anyone that they can imagine deporting. They're deporting. If there's any possible reason, and half the time there's no reason, and they still do it.
Right.
Usually those times are when the person is brown in some way.
Yeah.
Well, here's a story. Here's the thing. People here in Utah, red state, Mormons, they have been delighting in the mass deportation of people. They have been just pleased as punch about all of it.
Yeah.
And then word came that a BYU PhD candidate from Japan, who is Mormon himself, got a notice that he has to pack it up. His student visa has been revoked.
It's
now the student
okay.
visas
Proceed.
they're-
this already could go. I could take this so many different directions at this point. So just continue. I'm sorry. I'm exasperated over here, though.
Oh yeah, you should be. The trick here is that like he doesn't have a criminal record or anything, except he did have one run-in with the law.
Oh well, okay. Okay, well that explains it, Dan.
I mean, he
right?
has a couple of traffic violations. So
Get him out of here.
and also, and this is the big one. He was charged with, and then those charges were dropped. Overfishing.
Overfishing.
He had taken his church group, because he's a Mormon. He had taken the young people, or whatever, I assume young people, I don't know who it actually was, on a fishing trip, and they caught more than they were allowed to catch. He didn't catch any fish, mind you, but he led the trip, and that was enough. According to his lawyer. So he is out. He has like a week. He was given like a week to pack it up and go away.
Disgusting.
Which is shocking, but also what's shocking to me is how quick. So for the people, I did this for you guys listening at home. I did not do this for my own health, I promise you. I dove into the comments section of the article in these. I went to the conservativist Mormonist of all of the sources, the Deseret News, and dove into their thing. And holy crap, how quickly all of these people who would scream at the top of their lungs about this if it were a Democrat who had done this to these people. Suddenly they are combing the internet. They found this guy's LinkedIn page and were like, aha, but it says that he got his PhD already on his LinkedIn page, so he's overstayed his thing and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, BYU still has him as a student. He hasn't
Yeah.
But it is amazing how quickly they will search for anything to grab onto to not have to for their deporting ass savior.
Yeah.
To not be wrong. It's crazy how much how quickly they are willing to just throw anything under the bus.
Yeah.
Because obviously this is none of the things that they think are deportable. This guy is not. You can't even accuse him of being in MS-13.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
He's not from one of the shithole countries. He's from a good one.
He might be Yakuza though.
I should go into the comments section and just with a fake name and be like, he deserves it. He was Yakuza. just see how quickly that can catch on.
No, don't feed the.
I would not do that.
The rabid dogs.
The problem is that if they they could just grab onto it, and then that guy's life is ruined. Plus,
yeah.
So yeah, don't do things like that.
That's definitely a Yakuza tattoo sneaking out from under that shirt and that photo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw the kind of fish he caught. Those are Yakuza fish he was going for.
Oy. All right, Dan. Well, we're on the topic of Mormons. I was going to do this story as my third story, switching it up.
Yeah, all right.
Because I got some numbers, Dan. There's a Mormon, or there's a sort of a demographer guy who likes to dig into the official Mormon numbers and kind of break them down and show growth trends and whatnot. I was on his website, and so this is all new stuff that's coming out from the most recently released numbers for year-end 2024 for the Mormons.
Okay,
and I only want to bring it up because I do think it's really interesting where they're growing. and also where they're kind of shrinking. And also, it is important to remember that these are official church numbers, so they're not terribly reliable.
So don't believe them.
But I do believe that they represent trends.
Sure.
In the church, and they are growing like mad in places like the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Shocking.
Where they have 134,000 members, which is pretty amazing considering like, I don't know, when did this whole like church expansion in Africa thing start? They've really grown dramatically. In fact, it's kind of like now, like the Mormon kids, when they're like expecting, they're calling to go on a mission, right? Yeah. Like kids are like, oh, I want to go to Africa, right? That was not on the radar when
I got a nephew who's going
some odd years ago
to Africa soon.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. Where is he going?
Mozambique.
Mozambique is up to 32,000 members and grew by a rate of 28% last year.
Because they figured out they can't get people in countries with any wealth anymore. So they've got to go to the places where everybody's struggling.
Yeah. So Democratic Republic of Congo grew by 16.6%. Uganda grew by 13.9%, is up to 25,000. Zimbabwe, almost 12%, 46,000. Sierra Leone, 35,000, grew by 11.4%. Yeah. It's really remarkable. I mean, these numbers are kind of crazy. Another place that they grew by over 10%, Dan, Bosnia and Herzegovina. This was a surprise.
Why are they growing in Bosnia? That doesn't make any sense.
Their total membership is 86, and
they
grew by 10% last
year. That's true. The percentage thing is a tricky one because like you look at DRC. How many people do they have in DRC?
134,000.
Okay, but that's a country of 105 million.
Yeah.
So it's like,
sure.
Still a tiny percentage.
It's a tiny percentage, but it is impressive that that even at 134,000 members, that they're still growing at a 16.6% rate. Yeah. That's really, really kind of impressive. And I went with the larger countries and their numbers by and large, not the larger countries, sort of the larger Mormon populations, right? Because I felt like, again, like the Republic of Georgia growing at 14.2%, but only having 313 members just isn't. I
not really bragging rights.
Yeah,
right there.
Exactly. There's a decline that has happened. Romania lost 2.4% of their membership, but
because one guy died.
No, they are down. They're down to just over 3,000 members. How dare you? It was like 6 people died.
I do like that. Like, one car accident where
60 people.
A van rolls over, and how in some of these places that's the whole population or something.
Yeah. And then as far as like places just overall increase, the United States Mormon numbers increased by 61,000, they're claiming. Pew doesn't, when Pew has their sort of self-reported numbers, they don't show this kind of growth in the United States. Right. But the Mormons, because of the way they count, which is they sort of never stop counting you, even if you stop attending. Right. And haven't attended since you were like a child, and now you're 70, they're still counting you.
Theoretically, if you write in and get your name taken off the rolls, they should stop counting you. But we have no way of verifying that.
No way of verifying it, and there's a part of me that believes that they still count you. Again, groundless claim. I'm alleging this. It's not real. But
and when you
in my heart of hearts, it's
Yeah.
It just fits with the narrative because of how numbers obsessed they are.
Right.
Anyway,
The other thing about them is that, like, you know, something tells me that if you compare their growth in the United States with the actual growth of the population of the United States, they're losing. They're still losing members.
sure, that's probably true.
As
That
a
is-
percentage of
as a
population.
percentage of the total population. That's probably true. And Brazil still out, like as far as total numbers, outpaced the DRC. They brought in 31,000 new members.
Yeah, they work Brazil pretty hard.
Yeah, Brazil's still obviously a strong point. Japan, since Japan was you just mentioned Japan and Japanese
Mormons in Japan.
They are down just 474 members. We don't have a percentage on that.
But again, in a growing population, being down members is more than just being down members.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Well, Japan actually, they're losing their total population as well.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, there you go.
they probably just had a bunch of people die like the rest of the country is experiencing. Like they lost, like, it was an astounding number of people off their population last year. It was hundreds of thousands of people that their total population has dropped in Japan. Anyway, totally not what we're talking about here. And if it interests anybody, the Mormon church in Europe experienced some of its most rapid membership growth in decades last year, where places like Italy grew by 2.6%. Wow. Denmark grew by 0.83%. And apparently that's the second highest year for membership growth in Denmark since 1995. There's not a lot of Danish Mormons.
No.
Anyway.
All right. Well, there you go.
But yeah, it is interesting. You brought up the point of they have to sort of go to poor places to get people to join.
Yeah.
And
Because people who are experiencing like horrible times and pain are the most vulnerable, and that is when they're the most open to being manipulated and indoctrinated into a religion.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. They're explicit about that.
The Mormons like I learned that in the missionary training center when I was about to go on a mission. They teach you that.
Yeah.
It's in your handbook. It lists out the most the people who are most likely to be receptive to the gospel, right? And the top ones are people who experienced a recent like death in their family, people who've had some sort of negative change in their life, right? That's what all the top ones are.
Yeah. Or they're experiencing poverty or something like that.
And they tell you that, right? Like they're explicit. They know it.
Yeah.
We're not saying something that they would refute.
Right.
They love it, in fact.
They love it. All right. Well, there you go. I'm going to take us from Africa all the way to the state of Washington here in these United States, where a bill has been passed. It has passed both the House and the Senate of their state legislature.
Okay.
And that bill actually adds members of the clergy to the list of people of required reporters of child abuse.
About fucking time. And how do we get that everywhere?
So obvious, so easy, but like, of course the clergy themselves fought tooth and nail, because how can they do a confession if the confessor doesn't have the assurance that they can tell this person that they're a horrible, evil criminal without and not get away with it?
Yeah.
So oh no. I mean, a lot of like literally one of the priests that was like fighting against this thing was like, I'll be excommunicated if I can't do, if I can't do a proper confession with my people. And it's like, okay, then get excommunicated. Fucking stop the abuse. It doesn't matter. Like your stupid job and your in your dumb collar or whatever is not as important as stopping child abuse.
But where are they going to get all the juiciest stories, Dan?
Oh my God. all the priests in the break room just be like, oh my God, you'll never guess what I just heard.
Now, I can't tell you who, but...
I think we all know who. Now, what I don't want you to picture is the guy who sat in pew 2 on the, do we all know who I'm telling you not to picture when I tell you this story?
Well, he is dirty. He's nasty, that one.
Oh my God, break room with the priests. That's
with the catty priests.
That is that's a series. We just made up a series that we need to do. Why are there no producers that listen to our show? We have brilliant ideas. Some producer needs to pick us up and run with our ideas.
Oh my God.
Anyway, yes. So apparently in Washington, it hasn't yet been signed as of the recording of this show, but I don't think that the Democratic governor is going to have any problem signing this bill.
Yeah, I hope not.
Hopefully everything will go well, and now the even the priesty priests will have to tattle on the bad guys.
Yeah, about fucking time. It's so hard to imagine how they just can't get behind the right thing, right?
Yeah. The obviously right thing.
Obviously,
like you know what? Here's the thing. I sympathize. I think that even people who do horrific things should have someone that they can sort of talk to, and that they can confide in, and whatever.
Yeah.
I do sympathize with that. I think that is a lovely thing to offer them. Do it in jail, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In prison. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
In prison.
Let's worry about their soul once the children are safe.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Let's put our priorities in the right order here. Right.
Right. Just let's look at a timeline and figure out exactly when each thing needs to happen.
You don't have to, like, if their soul, if their eternal soul is important, you don't have to ignore it. You can get to that. That can be dealt with. Right.
We'll just deal with it in a sec. I got one thing I got to do real quick.
I have my mandatory reporter hotline that I have to call.
And then we'll totally get to your thing.
Yeah.
In just a sec.
And then let's worry about you. Poor you. Poor you.
Oh.
We'll deal with you later. All right, Dan. Here's the thing that I find fascinating. I love the whole concept of the Catholic Church making people saints. Like,
sure,
it is such a foreign concept to me. But maybe it's just kind of like the presidential, Medal of Honor or whatever thing. Like,
oh, sure.
Like some sort of, it's really just a, hey there, guy, good job. Right. For in a lot of cases. And in this one, Pope Francis has, I guess the Vatican has issued a statement that says that Pope Francis has authorized a decree declaring the architect, the famous Catalonian / Spanish architect, Antoni Gaudí. He's declared him as venerable, which means that he's on the path to sainthood, which apparently people have been agitating for.
Okay.
Because they think he's great. And he is
it's
great.
A saint on Gaudí.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Like, if you've been to Barcelona and you've seen the Gaudí architecture, this guy deserves to be honored and recognized.
I think he deserves to be honored. I don't know if sainthood comes with designing the most wackadoodle thing on the planet.
To which you're referring to the Sagrada Familia.
I'm referring to literally every damn thing that man did. I love it. I listen. I am on record as being a huge fan of him.
Oh yeah, no,
of
I
him,
know. Yeah,
and because of him, I think that city has like 80 times more character than it would have had he not been given the platform that he was given. I consider him the David Lynch of architects.
Oh wow!
In that he was just utterly wackadoodle-doo, but so much fun, and I enjoy, and yes, go for it. But does it great? Like he was definitely very into Catholicism.
Yeah,
I will give him that.
Yes, he most absolutely was. Saints are made the patron saint of something, right?
Yes,
they're sort of connected to something, and I was sort of like, I guess you'd be a patron saint of architecture. Or maybe I'm not sure exactly.
Getting hit by a bus.
It was
patron
a
saint
tram.
Of being hit by
he was hit by a tram. Yeah, maybe he's the patron saint of tram drivers. Please don't hit anyone else, tram drivers. Yeah, so the next step would be beatification, which is just one step short of full sainthood. These things sort of work on a timeline. Things have to happen before the next thing can happen.
Everybody quick, pray to him so that he gets some miracles under his belt.
That's the next step. Is that I think they use at least 2 miracles have to be attributed. I think is that the article doesn't say that. I'm kind of just pulling that from memory. But
I think it's 3.
Is it 3? It's definitely not just one, right?
Yeah.
Because one that could just be a little one-off. Like anybody in the afterlife can do one miracle, right? Like,
yeah.
It's when you can pull off 2 or 3 that you really.
You show your stuff.
You're somebody special at that point. And yeah, so and also has to be a post-death miracle. I think that's a new detail for me. All
the miracles in your life that you did, all of my when I walked on water that one time doesn't count.
Yeah, you can't just be David Blaine. You have to come back afterward and make somebody levitate. Yeah, right. You can't just levitate yourself or know what card somebody drew.
Oh, don't give Blaine any ideas. He'll totally fucking do it. He'll try to die just so that he can be like, now you've done it.
Anyway, so this is a thing that's happening. I'm all for it. Saint Gaudí, whatever.
Saint Anthony.
Saint Anthony. I'm sure there's already plenty of Saint Anthony's of some sort. Oh yeah.
I imagine there's many.
But yeah, if you've been to Barcelona, you know. If you are going to Barcelona, you'll soon know.
And go to Barcelona. And definitely, although they don't really want you, but it's like one of my favorite cities of all time.
It's an amazing place, and it's worth checking out. I'd love to go again, just because when I went, the Sagrada Familia was basically just like 3 spires and not much more. Yeah, and they've done a ton of work.
They're almost done.
And yeah. And I definitely would love to go see it when it's all done.
I mean, it's to the point where does that one even count as one of his anymore? Because he didn't finish it, and then so many other people have, like, the rest of it's been what 50 years of trying to get it done, and everybody's trying to put their own stamp on it. And so anyway,
it'll be fun. It'll be good.
I love it.
I still want to see it.
I love the Sagrada Familia. I also just think it's crazy. All right. Well, I'm going to close this out in San Francisco.
Woohoo!
Where now, as you know, Frank, this last weekend, for the weekend that you and I are currently in, but our listeners have already passed.
Okay.
Easter weekend, and there are many. There are many holidays. For many celebrations for Easter weekend, and one of them that has happened for like 46 years.
Oh yeah, okay.
Is one that has been put on by the in San Francisco, it happens at Dolores Park in San Francisco, and it is put on by the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, which is a global nonprofit group of drag nuns. They're nuns in drag.
Yay!
And every Easter Sunday,
or do they do nun drag? Do they dress as nuns?
Both,
but they're not actually nuns.
They're who are you to say?
Okay, so being nuns a fake thing, is that what you're saying? So anyone can
what I'm saying is I don't know. This calls it a nonprofit. Maybe they do have religious status, and maybe they are able to maybe
nunnify people
within a nonprofit organization. They can just they've made one of the levels of their organization nuns. All I'm saying is there are people in drag. They are considered nuns.
Okay,
they are the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence.
Excellent.
Their costumes are fabulous,
right?
Obviously,
of course.
And they put on a little event every Easter, and it has gotten huge.
Okay,
and it involves like egg hunts and all that sort of thing. But the pinnacle moment, the main event of this thing,
okay,
is the Hunky Jesus contest.
What?
So every year, Jesuses and Marys show up. Foxy Marys and Hunky Jesuses show up.
Okay.
Last year, the winner was because it was so topical. It was Ken Jesus in a big Barbie doll box.
Oh, sure, yeah.
As you do with bleach blonde hair. Anyway, and the box did include the disclaimer: actual miracles not included. But yeah, so it is a big camp drag event, and I kind of wish that I could be there, but alas, I can't. But yeah, I mean, all of these, how there are drag houses.
Mm-hmm.
There's so yes, there are there's. I'm looking at a photo right now where they're wearing a sign that says House of Jesus. And another sign that says, "Can I get a gay man?"
Oh, yeah. All right.
So yeah, there you go. Bring the kids, bring the whatever, and go and check out gay when you have an Easter free. Head on over to San Francisco where you can see Hunky Gay Jesus. It is obviously not popular for everybody. I think a lot of people who are Catholic and of other religious persuasions find it to be a little offensive.
How?
Just teensy, just a bit.
It's fun.
It is fun. And also it's obviously meant to offend.
Yeah.
The worst of the worst.
Yeah.
But in fairness to the gays, the other team shot first. So
fair enough.
So yeah, I think it is fair enough. But yeah, that sound it. I wish everyone a happy Hunky Jesus, and I hope someone good wins this year.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be hunky.
I'm sure he'll be hunky. Although hunky can be, there is a wide variety of hunky, and that is appreciated at this event, and I appreciate that.
Well, all right.
Well, if you have a version of Hunky Jesus that you appreciate and you'd like us to know about it, please feel free to write into us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. We'd love to hear from you. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up.
Well, Frank, we had some folks write into us and call into us.
We did indeed.
So we need to dive into that. I'll start us off with Joe, who said, Frank and Dan, I heard Frank say he wants to fly a flag to annoy conservatives. I have a pride flag with a sea of stars in the upper left corner that I fly from my car. It looks like the American flag and a pride flag had a glorious baby.
Woohoo!
This is particularly impactful in my conservative area while I wear my Make America Gay Again hat.
I love it.
Yeah, there you go.
I love it. I mean, yeah, we should be doing these things, right? Like, this is the level on which our political opponents communicate.
Yeah.
And they think they're doing something special, right? So I think we should do the same thing back.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if this is political discourse in America, it's just flying flags at this point. If that's all we can muster, then I think we should do it. So my hat is off to you.
Absolutely. All right. I suddenly just flashed on I was thinking about the Gadsden flag. That's the Don't Tread on Me flag with this sort of spiraled up snake, which is always so fun. There's such a badly done snake.
Yeah. But there should be a gay version of that one too.
What I was just imagining is two of those spirally snakes just strapped to someone's shoes and they're just using them as springs jumping around. I don't know how you can't do that in a flag, but
or you just have the two snakes making out and you don't tread on me. Don't
tread on me. Don't tread on us. We're fucking. I don't know. All right. Paul wrote into us to say to Frank and Dan, 50 years ago, I was a Bible major at Messiah College in a small Christian college in central Pennsylvania. Studying Hebrew, I learned with the Bible use of the word ruach to refer to the Holy Spirit. That word has a feminine gender. So God's pronouns should really be, you remember we talked about this, really be he, her, they.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
I'm all for it.
There you go.
Let's make sure. What we really need to do though is we really need to get the Christians on board with this. So we need to go and tell them that they're wrong, right?
Tell them that they're wrong.
Tell them that they're wrong. They're all really responsive to this.
Yes.
And correct them and tell them that they're, it's just how it is now.
Yeah.
They'll be fine with it. They'll love it.
They respond really well to stuff like that. We have a voicemail, do we not?
We do, Dan. Actually we have two. The first one is a voicemail that is also about flying the flag.
All right.
Hey, Frank and Dan. I just had a comment on your most recent podcast episode. First off, I am a self-respecting liberal, and I do fly the American flag. I fly the American flag on one side of my porch and the pride flag on the other side of my porch. The other point is you're talking about debates, and I just have to say that when I was younger, I was absolutely a creationist, but I watched a few debates between Ken Ham or Kent Hovind and some scientists about the evolution versus creationism, and those debates caused me to change my mind on evolution and accept the science of evolution. Anyway, thanks for your show. Keep it up, and have a great one.
We're wrong about all the things, Frank.
We are.
And I'm not being a jerk about it. Those are valid points.
Yeah. No, and so last week we kind of were just like, debates, they don't seem to get anywhere. But like, it is a good point that people who have curious and open minds, right, who are reachable, if they encounter these two different ideas, these two different opposing ideas, that the more reasonable one has a chance of reaching them.
Well, and also, like, that's something that I think we spoke specifically about, kind of debates about the existence of God as our example.
Yeah.
But, that's nothing that you can do anything with. But a debate that centers around the idea of how humans came to be could be the first place that a lot of kids are brought up in the United States anyway. A lot of kids are brought up in households that don't allow them to come in contact with the actual science of evolution.
Right.
So it can be the first place where they actually hear, oh, wait, that's not just an evil idea. That's actually an idea that makes a lot of sense. Why didn't anyone present it to me like that?
Right.
When I was in school or at home or whatever.
Right.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, I only heard their version of it, which was a really weak version.
Yeah, which was like, we descended from monkeys, and that make it sound like it happened in 4 generations. Right. Or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, there you go. I appreciate that voicemail. And we have another voicemail, don't we?
We do. This is a listener who's responding to our discussion. Well, there was a story about, let's see, a Catholic hospital that was in their defense against a lawsuit. They were actually trying to say that a fetus is not a person.
Yeah.
In a great hypocritical argument, but clearly,
and
whatever. But anyway,
putting people in danger in the process.
Yeah, and so this listener has a response to that part of it.
Yeah.
Hi guys, long-term listener. I often email responses to segments, but one of your stories just has me irate. The sheer incompetence of the CHI case is astonishing. At 34 weeks, the baby is late preterm. Survival outside the womb is 95% and has the same chance at long-term health as a full-term baby. The complications Miranda Anderson had were textbook preeclampsia, but they sent her home twice after a multi-day hospital stays, despite the fact that 1, preeclampsia is a leading cause of death for women and fetuses. 2, preeclampsia deaths are nearly entirely all preventable. And 3, the hospital never told mom that the only definitive treatment for preeclampsia is delivery. The baby had a heartbeat while the hospital monitored and just discharged her repeatedly. But at 34 weeks, mom could have had a C-section, and almost certainly they would have had a healthy mom and a baby. So not only are the Catholic Hospital of Indiana hypocrites, it was egregious malpractice, which is probably the only reason that the hospital is taking the position they are. I hope the Andersons take this hospital for everything they have so that no other family experiences this devastating, obvious, and completely avoidable loss. Sorry for yelling, but the incompetence was an astounding compoundment of the hypocrisy. Kara, thanks.
Well, thanks, Kara.
Yeah, and please stop yelling. This is
gosh,
you're being a little.
Okay, you guys. Kara wrote to us and was like, "I'm so sorry about yelling at you." And both Frank and I were like, "When did you yell? Did that happen?" You sounded emphatic and well deserved.
And there's anger, and that's fine, right? Like
all of that is
it's not inappropriate anger. This is
those emotions are very correct.
Yeah, this is righteous anger, and it is justifiable. And I hear it, but nothing over the top.
By God, woman, yell! You have the right to yell.
Absolutely.
Oh
no, great points, and thank you for getting into more of the medical side of it.
Yeah.
We'll see how this whole thing goes, but it is an outrageous story. Also because they're such fucking hypocrites.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
And we have one more email. This is from Lynn, who wrote a very long and good email because Lynn actually, you remember we talked about Pat Gelsinger, on the show, who was CEO of Intel and then became a CEO of an idiot group called Gloo, GLOO, which was like a Christian whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Lynn worked for Intel and said, it blew my mind. You had the topic of Pat Gelsinger on. I was recently laid off by that a-hole after a 27-year career at Intel.
Wow.
He was the worst CEO in Intel history and just plain cringy as a Christian nationalist. And yeah, they go on to list many, many problems with this guy's tenure as CEO, including but not limited to this person. He wrote a book about faith in the workplace and offered it free to all employees. Borf. Filmed weekly Friday videos to keep employees updated on all the things he was doing to fight and bring intel back that ended in prayers or Bible quotes. Gross.
Oh my God.
And told employees that he fasted and prayed every Thursday for the company. That would not make me feel better.
No.
And obviously didn't have any of the effect that it should have had. Like, your God sucks at saving you, because apparently the Intel lost over $240 billion in market cap under his leadership. So you needed a Jesus way better, Gelsinger. Apparently glue is really... Lynn also went into a whole thing about how glue collects sensitive personal data, like things about mental health and addiction and finances, via churches and nonprofits and voting and public data sets, and then just uses that to get them. You know, it's the same thing we were talking about that the Mormons do. You find people who are in a struggle, and they're just using the internet to do it. So, you know, maybe the Mormons can team up with glue. I'm guessing that they already have. What do I know? Ugh. Anyway, we got some folks to thank. I'm going to start us off. Jeffrey, I'm going to say Jeffrey is an elder.
Oh, no,
in our priesthood.
Nice.
Thank you so much for your donation, Jeffrey.
Yes, and we have a new deacon on Patreon by the name of Kepi. So thank you very much. And if you'd like to join these kind folk in supporting the show, you can go to our website, thankgodimatheist.com/donate. And as always, Dan, we have our top donor to thank, our Lord and Savior, Davis.
More show coming up. Well, Frank.
Daniel.
Hopefully you had a happy Easter.
I love Easter, Dan. Easter is like just the best holiday ever.
And it was a mega Easter this year. There was it was
an alignment of Easters.
An alignment of Easters where the Eastern Church and the Western Church had their Easter on the same thing.
So there was so much Eastering going on. I felt the power.
You felt the power of it?
Jesus, he rose.
Yeah. Oh boy, he rose the shit out of this Easter.
He's arisen.
He resurrected like a madman. That was some heavy duty resurrection that he did this year.
Oh God, I just feel sort of renewed.
There was can I just say that there's a fascinating fact about how the Eastern Orthodox or the Eastern Christians and the Western Christians calculate this.
Mm-hmm.
And it does align every so often.
Okay.
But apparently, because of how they do it, this won't happen. This will happen again a couple more times. And then if they continue on the same path that they are on, they won't realign for like 1,000 years or something like that.
What? So we're going to we'll get a couple more in our lifetime, and then it's just done.
Because one of them's using the Gregorian calendar, and one of them is using the what is the other calendar? Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's not what we said we were going to talk about.
It is. I feel like we live in such special times, Dan.
These are indeed.
These are very, very the Julian calendar is what you were.
The Julian, thank you. Yeah. That's the one. Yeah. So anyway, but that's not what we're here to talk about. What we were going to talk about is Mormons. But just sort of as a synecdoche for all religion. Really. If you don't mind me using a big word.
I love that word, Dan.
I think so. the thing that happened, as we said, was that a federal judge on Thursday dismissed the lawsuit that was alleging that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints misused their tithing money.
Which they did.
Or rather, didn't use it. They just squirreled it away in one of their funds and then let it make more money from itself.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of the Mormons' money got evaporated when Trump started doing tariffs. Probably a lot.
Probably a lot. Yeah.
Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
But they've got enough. They have plenty.
Yeah. But so when you and I were talking about this before the show, one of the things that we were talking about is that the Mormons did go through a time when they were worried when their finances were really bad.
Yeah.
And then they made a switch, and the switch that they made was who got to be apostles in their church, who got to be higher ups in their church.
Right.
And suddenly it was like, I went through the sort of the former professions of the top 15 apostles, the 15,
right?
The quorum of the 12 plus 3 of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, just to see where they all came from, and you'll be shocked, I say, to learn that none of them has a theology degree or even a degree that would even be useful in a sort of clerical or a theological role.
Right. Wow.
Because, they're supposed to be running a church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they should be trained in the church things. But no. We have, at the top right now is a heart surgeon. Don't know what that has to do with anything. Then you've got a guy who was on the Utah Supreme Court. He was a lawyer, a big time guy. He was also president of Brigham Young University.
Yeah.
And shockingly, this one blew both you and I away, was at one point the chairman of the board of directors of the Public Broadcasting Service, or PBS.
That one,
Considering how wildly conservative this man is, that one kind of did blow my mind.
He was trying to do some good. That's why he was there. He was trying to work from within,
ruin it from
make
scale
change.
It back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, I because that was back in the 70s. I believe that he probably did fine. I don't know. He didn't cancel Sesame Street. That's all I know for sure. Then you got a businessman who literally was a car salesman, owned car dealerships. You've got another president of Brigham Young University.
Right.
That's Jeffrey Holland.
Yeah, but what
you got
was he just an educator? Did he do something before? He had to have done something before they put him.
He was an Institute of Religion teacher.
Okay.
Which is
that's
has always been a nothing.
Yeah, that is a big nothing, but at least he's not a businessman.
No, that's true.
Right, because that's sort of our argument, is that they just have a strong preference for all these businessy types who have no theological backgrounds. Yeah. However thin it might be, at least Holland has something, right?
So there should be a band called that sort of incorporates Jeffrey Holland and Dallin Oaks that's called Holland Oaks.
Holland Oaks. That's terrible. No, well, I was kind of thinking, as you're going through all of this, there was also Gordon B. Hinckley, who he didn't have any outside. His whole career was in the church.
Yeah.
Right. But he was also on the PR side, right?
Yeah.
Of the church, not really a theologian.
Right.
And didn't have the training that I think that's sort of what we might be getting at more, is that these guys don't have training in any kind of religious sort of field, right? And so as thin as the ethics might be that do get taught at some sort of theology school. Like
At least they're there.
At least they're there, right?
Yeah.
At least there is something there. And I actually started thinking about like, well, good Lord, like when did this happen, right? Was it really around the time that the church almost went bankrupt? It is, isn't it?
Yeah, probably.
Because like I looked up Joseph Fielding Smith, who was president.
prophet.
He was president of the church until 1972.
Yeah.
And so he would have probably overseen a lot of this transition, and his entire career was in the church. He came up through church administration, right? And he was also considered a doctrinal expert, right? And so like I'm not going to go through all of the ones I can think that were sort of mid-century, but I mean, all the ones we can think of recently were all some sort of nominal businessman of some kind,
right? Or someone whose focus, like what we can say for sure, is that even Jeffrey Holland, who did start off as an Institute of Religion teacher, which you would think maybe if he's an institute teacher and director of the Institute of Religion, that might mean something, but it doesn't, because we know what they do,
right?
In the Mormon Institute of Religion,
right? And
it's nothing.
Right.
It is just indoctrination. It's the same thing you'd get at church. But just more.
Yeah. And yet somehow he's found a way to be the most pompous asshole.
Oh my God.
Ever.
Such a prick.
Like, yeah. Barf, that man.
Well,
like,
because he went on to become
the
president of the most important university in the world.
Ever. Yeah. Oh, yo. Well,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, it's just one of these things where, it's not like I think that the Catholic priests or Anglican priests are actually that great at kind of anything,
right?
But they're so much better at their thing than the Mormons are. The one thing but what the Mormons have clearly made themselves great at is making money.
Yeah. But those organizations have like real bona fides in like charity, right?
Yeah.
When you talk about the Catholics, and I think about like Catholic charities, and I think about the work that they do, right? Like good, important work. Yeah, it's tied to a church, whatever. But like, they really try, right? And they do a lot. And so it's just like, yeah, but sort of with the jumping off point here though was this like court case.
Yeah.
And people trying to get their tithing money back because they feel like the church, has sort of misrepresented how they use the tithing money, and that ultimately the church doesn't even need it at this point.
If you have hundreds of billions of dollars, which they do, and you do tens of millions of dollars worth of charity, fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck all the way off. Like, you and I have talked a lot about how churches should, legally, they are supposed to lose their nonprofit status if they are politically active and
right.
Stump for specific candidates.
Right.
Fuck that. They should lose their nonprofit status if they aren't actually providing like charity for the society. If they're not actually providing community and helping the people that they are explicitly meant to be helping.
Yeah.
They pay taxes.
Yeah. Or
you are just a business now.
Yeah. Or convert your hoard of money, which it is. They are just hoarding mass amounts of money, right?
Yeah.
Convert that, or at least a large portion of it, into some sort of foundation, right? Or organization that can do like amazing, like if they just put that money, half of it, towards something like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, my God.
Yeah.
The work that they could do, right?
At this point, Smaug the dragon is going, come on, guys, give some of it up.
It's absolutely absurd. These people, they wanted their money back. I applaud the effort, but at the end of the day, there is a little bit of buyer beware, right? When you give your money away, to an organization.
It is fraud. It is. But you're never going to get them. The hope was that they would eventually, have to show their finances, but nobody's been able to make them do it yet because they keep getting dismissed instead of at least getting to a trial where they would have to do discovery. So there you go. Will someone sue them in another country that has like meaner rules or stricter rules about things so that we can see some stuff? All right. Well, there you go. There you have it. If you'd like to write into us about this or any of the things we've talked about this week, please feel free to do so. podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, yell at us a little bit.
Yeah.
To support the show, go to thankgodimatheist.com/donate.
This episode was edited by Roger Gaudí, and music was provided by the Red Rock Hot Club and Gordon Johnston.
Thanks to all y'all for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank God I'm Atheist is a production of TGIA Media, LLC, copyright 2025, all rights reserved.